Hello and welcome back to Redesigned Rows. If you are new here, my name is Jen. Today we are making the sweetest little crochet bunny. This one is soft, round, and perfectly balanced. We are going to start with a magic circle. We're going to grow the body evenly and then taper it right into the head so that everything just flows together seamlessly. I'll demonstrate the increases, the staggered shaping, and invisible decreases step by step. Let's pick up our hooks and begin. Just to go over the supplies that we're going to need to make this cute little guy, I am using this Caron Simply Soft Speckle yarn. I thought this was just perfect to give that imitation of the bunny's fur with all of the little speckles in between. This one is in the color Seashell. We are going to be using 2 strands together just to give it that added bulk and texture. And because we are putting those 2 together, we are going to size up on our crochet hook to an 8mm crochet hook. We'll need a pair of scissors, of course, and a tapestry needle. We're only going to have one end to weave in at the top, but this is primarily going to be to sew on these ears that I am completely obsessed with. A stitch marker. This one's going to be really important. If you don't have any stitch markers on hand, you can always use, I like to grab a bobby pin. These work really well as well. I've also grabbed some ribbon that is going to coordinate with my bunny here just to tie around the neck. Another item that is really helpful is these little muslin bags. I get these on Amazon. There's like 25 of them for maybe $10 or something like that. But I do like to fill those with rice and put this in the bottom of my bunny. This is going to help just balance our bunny, keep him sitting nice and flat on a table, and prevent him from tipping over. And it also does give it a little bit more of a high-end feel when you're holding these bunnies, just because it does have that weight in the bottom. And of course, we're going to need some polyfill to stuff this guy and make him nice and fluffy. So that's it for the supplies. Okay, let's get started working this cute little guy up. We are going to start with a magic circle. And the way that I like to do my magic circle is wrap the yarn over my 2 fingers twice. Then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go under the first 2 strands, 1, 2. And I'm going to grab that third one and pull that up and give it a little twist. That way I can come over here and grab my working yarn and pull through to chain 1. Then I can release my fingers. Now for round 1, we're going to work 6 half double crochet into our magic circle. That I'll yarn over, insert through the circle, pull up a loop, and I have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. And do that 6 times in here for round 1. And there's 6. Now we need to close the magic circle. And if you'll notice, because we wrapped the yarn around our fingers twice, there are 2 strands. We need to figure out which one to pull in. And the easiest way to do that is if you take the tail and pull this through, you'll see that this strand here started to pull in. So that's the one we want to grab. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that, pull that tight. Now we've got this big obnoxious loop here. The way we get rid of that is grab your tail and pull that tight. And that closes up the middle of our circle. Now, this pattern is worked in continuous rounds. And what that means is we're not going to slip stitch to join and then start the next round. So that is why this little stitch marker here is going to become very, very important. Now for round 2, we're going to work a total of 12 half double crochet, and that means we're going to work 2 in each and every stitch. We're also going to be working just in these back loop only, right back here. So for this first stitch, I'm going to work 1 and 2 half double crochet. So this was the second one. This is the first one. That's where I want to go ahead and mark my stitch, so I know that that is the beginning of this round. And then in each stitch around, again, 2 more half double crochet. All right, now we're going to start round 3. We are going to keep increasing on each round, but we're going to stagger the increases. The staggering is going to start on round 4. So this one will be pretty straightforward. This one we're going to work 1 half double crochet and then 2, 1 and then 2, 1 and then 2 all the way around. And by the time you're at the end of round 3 here, you should end up with 18 stitches. I'll go ahead and put my stitch marker back in. So there is 1. Looks like this yarn does like to split on me a little bit. That's okay. It's going to be worth it. So 1 and then 2 in the next. See, here is my stitch marker. I've got 2 more stitches. So I'm going to work 1 here and 2 here, just to complete that round. And again, we'll end up with 18. Let me get my stitch marker out of the way here. Okay, so that is what it should look like at the end of round 3. All right, now we're going to start round 4. I'm going to take our stitch marker out. Now this is where the increases are going to stagger. If we end up putting all of the increases in the same spot, like a lot of patterns do, you're going to end up with a hexagon shape instead of a nice smoother circle. So this is a way just to hide those increases, the way that I've done this pattern here. So the first stitch, we're going to do 1 half double crochet. And we'll get our marker back in there just so we don't lose our spot. And then the second stitch, we're going to work an increase, meaning we'll put 2 half double crochet in here. Now we're going to work 2 single half double crochets. So 1 in here, 1 in here, and then we'll increase in the next, meaning we'll put 2. So for the remainder of this round, it's going to be 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, etc. until we get to the very end. So here we're coming up to the end. There's 1, 1, and then an increase. But we do have 1 stitch left, so we're just going to work 1 half double crochet in that one. I want to make sure I've grabbed both loops there. All right, we'll grab some more yarn. Now round 5 is just going to be a standard increasing row. We're not going to stagger this one. For this one, we're going to work 3 singles and then an increase. So it's going to be 1, 1, 1, and then 2. 1, 1, 1, and then 2. And don't forget to place that stitch marker in that very first stitch of the round, and then an increase. I'm going to continue that all the way around, and by the time you finish round 5, you should have a total of 30 stitches. So I'm coming at the end of this round. 1, 2, there's 3, and then our last stitch here will be an increase. All right, and this sometimes this does like to pop up just a little bit, but when you lay it flat, but as you can see, it is starting to create a smooth circle. Um, you can kind of tell where some of those increases are, but the way that we're staggering, like next row, row 6, we're going to stagger them some more so they'll be offset so that these little points that we're seeing will blend in nicely. And this is a good pattern too to keep going with if you want to make placemats or something that you want to keep growing your base or your circle out and keeping it nice and flat and increases hidden. All right, so round 6, the first stitch we're going to do, we're going to work 1 half double crochet, put our stitch marker back in, and we'll work another half double crochet into the next stitch, and then we'll do an increase. And so that's our stagger. Now what we'll do for the rest of the round is we're going to work 4 singles and then an increase. 4 singles and then an increase all the way around until we have 2 stitches left. And at the end of this round, you should end up with 36 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll work an increase. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase. Pull out some more yarn here. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work this round up off camera and meet with you. And like I said, at the end, we'll end up with 36 stitches. Okay, I'm at the end of the round here. Finish this increase. And then you'll have 2 more stitches left. We just work a single half double crochet. I shouldn't say that. That'll confuse you. Work 1 half double crochet in each one of those for that total of 36. And I just love this because it just really gives this really clean texture that almost looks like it's knitted. The other side is fun as well. And you can work this and turn it inside out if you prefer this side or this side. I think I am preferring a little bit more flat. This one, the rib is a little bit more pronounced, and that's just the way the half double crochet works. And again, that does want to keep popping up, but don't worry about it. It'll pop up even more as we keep going around, but it's not going to stay that cone shape, especially once we put our bag in it and stuff it. We'll make that stay where it belongs. Don't you worry. All right, round 7 will not be a stagger. It's going to be a standard increase, and we're going to work 5 half double crochets and then an increase. 5 half double crochets and then an increase all the way around. So again, put that first one in and put that stitch marker in right away. Take it from someone who learned the hard way. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll do an increase. So at the end of round 7, you should have a total of 42 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 in the same stitch for that increase. 3, 4, 5, and then an increase. I'll continue working up this round off camera, and I'll meet up with you, and then we're going to work round 8, which will be our last increase and will be the largest portion of our bunny. At the end of this round, there's 4 and 5, and the last stitch we do our increase. All right, now it's time for our last increase row, and this one will be staggered. So we're going to start this round with 3 half double crochets. There is our first one. There's 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do an increase, meaning 2 in the same. And now, yep, you guessed it, for this round we'll work 6 half double crochets and then an increase all the way around until we have 3 stitches remaining. So we'll work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an increase. And then I'm going to continue that all the way around. By the time you get to the end of this round, you'll have a total of 48 stitches, which again is the widest part of our bunnies. Okay, I'm at the end of this round. This is my last increase. Then I should have 3 stitches remaining where I'm just going to work a half double crochet into each of those, bringing that stitch count to 48. All right, so this is the widest point of our bunny, and just to give you an idea, so it's just right at 6 inches here. So I've got a 6-inch base. Now what we're going to do is start to build the sides up of the body, and we're going to do that by working 1 half double crochet into each one of these stitches all the way around. So it's going to keep a 48 stitch count, no increases, and we're going to do that for rounds 9 through 14. I'm going to work those up on off camera and meet back up with you. But you just want to make sure that you do remember to put your stitch marker right back in after that first stitch so that we don't lose our place. And it's just 1 in each and every stitch all the way around. Okay, so I have worked up the sides of the body up to round 14. And now what we're going to do is start our decreases. We're going to start to taper this in before we work our little head. So for round 15, I'm going to go ahead and remove my stitch marker and put my hook back in here. We're going to work 6 half double crochets and then a decrease. And this is going to just take us down to a 42 stitch count for this round. So I'll work my first one, and still want to use our stitch marker all the way to the end of this pattern. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we'll work a decrease. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to start a half double crochet, pull up a loop, and I've got 3 loops on my hook. Then I'm going to go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and now there's 4. So we've grabbed 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through all of those, and we've turned that into 1 single stitch. And you can see just how nice and hidden that is. There's no gap and no bubble. We'll continue to do that all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So one of the things I did want to mention is we're also going to stagger these decreases so that they are hidden as well. So once again, we'll start this half double crochet with 3 loops on the hook, go into the next stitch and pull up a loop so that we can combine those 2, yarn over, pull through all 4. And that is how you work your half double crochet decrease. I'll continue this all the way around and I will meet up with you. Okay, so I'm at the end of this round. I have 2 stitches remaining, which is where I will work my last decrease for this round. And again, I'll end up with 42 stitches. So that's just a very slight taper. Round 16, we're going to work 5 half double crochet and then a decrease. I'll put my first one in. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And now it's time to work that half double crochet decrease. And I'll keep repeating this around. At the end of this round, we'll have a total of 36 stitches. All right, round 17, this is our last decreasing row. And this one we will work 4 half double crochet and then a decrease. And there's that half double crochet decrease. I'll continue this all the way around, and at the end of round 17, we'll have a total of 30 stitches. And I just wanted to show, you absolutely just cannot see any of those increases or decreases in this pattern. It's just really, really smooth. Okay, so I have finished all the way up through round 17. Now is a really good time to go ahead and put in our weighted bag into the bottom. And I also like to add a little bit of stuffing in here, just because when I start to work up the head, the space gets a little bit smaller for me to go ahead and work that stuffing into. You don't have to, you certainly can wait until the end. I just feel like it's a little bit easier. I feel like it's a little bit easier to start that now. And then I'm going to work up the rounds for my head. and that is going to be rounds 18 through 21. And that weighted bag does make a little bit of a square shape on the bottom, so I do like to take the stuffing and just kind of round that out by being sure to get that down into the sides. And of course, we'll do more shaping once the head is completely stitched up. But I do like to take that stuffing and just kind of take my fingers in the center and pull it towards the sides. It tucks it in there, and it also just kind of forces that to make that nice and round. Okay, so for rounds 18 through 21, we're just going to work 1 half double crochet in the back loop only. Again, each round is going to have 30 stitches. So once we get to round 21, I'll show you, we'll do some more decreases to close up the head. And then after that, it is on to those spectacular ears that I am obsessed with. Okay, so I've worked up through round 21, and now what we'll do is start the decreases for the head. And this is going to be a total of 4 rounds. Looks like my last stitch came undone here, so I'm going to put that back in. All right, so now we're going to start round 22. And the way we'll work this round is going to be 3 half double crochet and then a decrease. So we'll go ahead and work that. Okay, I'm at the end of round 22 here, and work my last decrease. And now we'll start round 23. This one will work 2 half double crochet and then a decrease all the way around. You should end up with a total of 18 stitches. All right, the final stitch of this round. So it's looking a little funny right now, and that is only because we have this stuffed, and once we stuff this, it'll look a little more proportionate, as we do want to stretch this out a little bit just to make it nice and full. And with only 18 stitches left, this opening does get a little tight, so now is the perfect time to go ahead and stuff that head. And you'll just kind of play around with the stuffing and kind of shaping that to your liking. Okay, so this is about what the way our bunny is looking. And again, it's really going to come to life once we get the neckband around it and the ears on. Right now, it reminds me of a bowling pin, to be honest with you. All right, looks like we are right here. I'm going to go ahead and put my hook back in, and we're going to finish the last 2 rounds. Round 24 is going to be 1 half double crochet and then a decrease. So there's 1. And when you're working with the stuffing, because this yarn does, it is such a very silky, soft yarn, you do have to kind of tug it down at the end of every stitch. Otherwise it wants to come apart pretty easy. So that is one thing I did notice with this particular yarn, but it's okay. Make it work. And so once again, it's just 1 half double crochet and then a decrease all the way around. And at the end of this round, we'll have 12 stitches. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 24. And now that I have closed that up a little bit, I'm going to add just a little more stuffing right before we close here. Just so my head doesn't lose that round shape on top. Now for the final round of round 25, we're just going to decrease all the way around. And at the end of this round, we'll have 6 stitches. So a decrease right away. There is 1. I'm going to pull that down tight. And 2. 3. 4. 5, and then 6 for our last one. What we'll do is snip that off, leaving a little bit of a tail. I'm going to take my hook out, pull that yarn through like so. Then I will take my tapestry needle and thread. I do like to do both strands at once. If I can show you this on camera here. Just pinch those and push those through. And then what I like to do is try to grab that next stitch back loop only and pull my yarn through, and then I'm going to weave in and out through the remaining stitches of the round just to pull this tight or close that up. Okay, so that is fully closed now. Then I'll just kind of take this and weave it through a few spots just to make sure it's not going to come undone later. Hide that tail in there. And going in different directions just helps secure it even more. Then once I've done that a few times, I'll go ahead and snip off the end. All right, and there is our bunny's body and head. And so now we're going to start on the cute ears that are just going to make this bunny pop. Okay, so to start the ears, we're going to do the same thing and start with a magic circle. And this pattern, we're going to be doing single crochet in the back loop only. So the first one we're going to start with is 6 single crochet. And then I'm going to pull this closed. And we will be working continuously on this ear as well. So the first stitch here, again in the back loop only, I'm going to work 2 single crochets. And we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around until we end up with 12. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch the next 3. And what this is going to do is create the bottom of our ear. And it is a good idea to grab that stitch marker again and put that into your first slip stitch. And again, just in the back loop only, slip stitch, and there's 3. Now for this next stitch, we're going to work 3 single crochet into the same stitch. And again, all in that back loop only. Then we're going to come up this side. We're starting to make this a triangle. And what we're going to do is make this flat on the bottom. We're going to climb up this way and then climb down this way. And then we're just going to grow our triangle here. And you'll see that start to come to life here in just a minute. So a single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then in this stitch, this is going to be the point of the ear, so we want to make this nice and tall. And we'll do that by doing a half double crochet, then a double crochet in the same stitch, and then a half double crochet in that same stitch. There we go. So now you can really start to see that flat on the bottom, the point. Now to come back down this side, we're going to do a single crochet in the next 3. And then in this final stitch, we want to do 3 single crochet, just like we did on this side, to bring that point out and balance it on all sides. So there is 1, 2, and then 3. Now I'm going to take my stitch marker out. And we want to keep this a nice flat bottom, so we're going to slip stitch the next 4. So there is 1, 2, put that in that first one. There's 3 and 4. Now we want to bring this corner out again, so we'll do 3 single crochet in the corner. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to come up the side working single crochet in the next 5 before we get to that point. So we'll work up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at the point of the triangles. We're going to do that cluster again of the half double crochet, double crochet, and another half double crochet. And now we're going to come down 5 single crochet on this side. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just like we did on this side, we want to balance out this one. 1, 2, and then 3. Now we're going to slip stitch across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times, excuse me, and then we will bring out the corner right over here. So there is 1. Sometimes you gotta, these slip stitches get a little tight. You gotta kind of work your hook in there, but don't worry, you can do it. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this was that first one, mark that. So really starting to see that triangle pop. And this, by the way, is also how these are constructed to work like a bikini top, a triangle bikini top. Just a little hint there if you're considering doing some clothing. All right, so 3 in the corner, and now we're going to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before we get to the pointed stitch, point of the stitch, excuse me. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now we're going to work that cluster with the half double crochet, the double crochet, and half double crochet again. And just like we did on this side, now we're going to come down 7, and then 3 single crochet into the next. And you're always going to have this extra stitch before your next round, and that's okay. We're going to just start slip stitching straight into it. So this one, we're going to end up slip stitching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you notice, it just climbs by 1 on each round. And that's just a way to keep the rounds nice and even. But this one, we are not going to, this one we're actually going to start the border that I think is the secret sauce to this ear, because it is just too stinking adorable. And you can lose the stitch marker at this point if you like. All right, so instead of doing 3 in this corner, we're going to start our border. And we'll do that with a picot border. We're going to do a single crochet, chain 3, and then single crochet into the same stitch. And then we'll skip the next one, and we're going to do picot in the next stitch. So single crochet, chain 3, and then single crochet in the same stitch. Skip the next one, same thing, and we're going to do this all the way around the border of this ear. Skip one and go to the next. And skip and go to the next. And the way that I've stitched this out, you should end up with a picot stitch on each corner. And as you'll see, we skip one, we're at the very top. So all of these little picos should be evenly spaced and the same number of them on both sides of the ear. Okay, we're going to climb down this side, skip one, go into the next. And now the secret to this ear is not just this picot border, but it's also how it is attached onto the benny. So be sure to stay with me so you can see that, because that's where the shape gets really important. Okay, and so at that very last corner, so once again, that's nice and balanced by having one in each corner. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into that last stitch to join. Now, when I cut off the yarn, I do want to leave quite a long tail because this is what we're going to use to sew this onto the benny. I'm going to get that stitch marker out of the way, and I'll just kind of tighten that down. But as you can see, that's just got a cute little triangle shape, but the way that we're going to sew this on and shaping this kind of in this manner on top of the bunny's head is what really gives it that shape. But before I do that, I do like to weave in this beginning tail. And the best way to do that, I don't know if you can see it on camera just because of the pattern, but this tail was the start of this magic circle right here. And I love weaving tails inside of magic circles because it really holds them in tight. So I just like to kind of go in through part of the circle. And one of these days I'm going to learn that I need to have my needle further down. And then I can continue to go around this magic circle and take advantage of those really tight stitches to hold this tail in. And this is never coming out again. And then I can just clip off the excess. And now this is ready to attach onto the bunny's head. Okay, now it is time to make this bunny look like a bunny. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and thread these onto my tapestry needle. And what I want to do is kind of take a look at the top of the head here. So the very center where we did the final closure, that is where I want to end up having both of the inner parts of my ear end up. This is also a great place of where your bobby pins can come in place, because what I like to do, I'm only going to do one ear at a time, but what I like to do is go ahead and pin the corner of that ear right where I want it to end up. That way, as I'm shaping and kind of stitching this on, and you can kind of play with how wide you want the ear, if you want it to come in more centered. And these are going to stand up on their own, which is nice. But that way you can find your starting point, and that finish point is held down. And then I'll take my needle here, and I'm thinking I'm going to put that right about there. So I'm going to grab a stitch onto the bunny's head here. I'm going to keep trying to hold this in place. And this part can be just a little bit tricky, but it's not It's not terrible. Then I'm going to come in through the back of the ear, just like a whip stitch. And now that part, now I have both corners held down. And what I'll do is just keep going through the inside of this ear here, grabbing a stitch on the bunny's head. And then I like to come back through the back here. Grab enough yarn to really kind of be able to tack this down. And of course, as you complete a couple of stitches, it really starts to hold in place. And again, it's just kind of a whip stitch style. And don't be afraid to kind of lay these ears down out of your way as you go. We can stand them back up and cute when we're all done. Okay, so I just want to, again, so this is where the bottom of the ear here, so I want to grab something close right underneath there. And then through the back. So I'm just coming through the back of the ear here and pulling this rather snug. And I'm just going to continue to do this all the way around until this ear is nice and secure. And then I can remove that bobby pin. And then I'll add on the second ear. And right about here is where I'll go ahead and pull out that bobby pin. I've got about 1 to 2 more stitches here just to secure. I want to kind of take a look at my shape again and make sure that I get this corner exactly where I want it. I think that is a good shape right there. And then again, what I'm going to do is come in here, and what I want to do now is pin this side, because I'll start in here. So I'll pin this side down and just make sure that those are proportionately sewn on. It's a little difficult to show this on camera here, but place those nice together. So I'll finish this off with a little knot, and then I'll tuck in the tails. And then I'm going to sew on that other ear off camera. Or maybe I'll get it started on camera. So I'll go ahead and do a little knot right there. And then once again, I can just kind of hide some of that tail in just to protect that knot. Snip off the ends. Now I'll thread on my other ear. And so again, I'm going to start this one just right up next to that other ear, so I don't need to mark that. And I've got this one wrapped right about this, so just to make it even, I'm going to follow that stitch around but come down one, because if you remember, this is in a continuous spiral, so I don't want to be on that same line here. I actually want to come right over here, and then that's going to make that spaced nice and evenly. I'll take my bobby pin, pin that down just to hold that side in place. And you can, on one of the other bunnies, I also went ahead and started by stitching these two corners together just to give a little extra security. But I don't want to ruin the bump of that picot stitch there, so I'm just going to go right behind it. And now I'll go ahead and continue to work around this ear. And then I'm going to hide that tail in there and cut off the excess. Now when I stand these ears back up the way they're supposed to go, you can see that they are pretty evenly placed. Got the little picot border. Just absolutely love that. We cannot forget to give. Now this is a black velvet, which I think just accents this yarn perfectly. And I want to get just below where the taper started. There is our beautiful speckled bunny. I am thrilled with this. I'm also going to go ahead and do a little pom-pom tail, because it's just, with something this cute, we have to have it all the way complete. I don't know if you've seen these cute little pom-pom makers, but they're amazing. I will put in the description below a link to where I purchased mine. I believe it was off of Amazon. They're very, very inexpensive. They come in a couple of different sizes. This one is considered to be the large, and I'm going to show you how to work these. They're really, really easy. So it has the disc that closes up, and you're going to pull these apart. And all we're going to do is wrap our yarn around these. Now there is a little secret to these. If you wrap these evenly, in other words, you don't want to bulk up here in one spot. Let me get my yarn in a better location here. You don't want to bulk up in one spot like this. You do want to just kind of evenly spread these out, and just keep that in mind as you're bulking it up. That's going to give you a more even fullness to the pom-pom, if you will, and also get right into those edges there. Don't be shy. And all you're doing is just wrapping just kind of as evenly as you can, back and forth, until basically until you have a hard time closing this up. Because the more you can fit on here, the fuller your pom-pom is going to be. And I just like my bunny to have a full bushy tail. I almost wonder if a solid color tail would look cute for this, in connection with this freckled or speckled yarn. Now don't overthink it. Don't Don't sit there and try to make every strand as even as possible. You're just going to kind of keep eyeballing it and say, you know, I don't have very much in that spot, or I've gone too much in that one spot. And this is looking pretty full. And let's see how that looks when I close it. It's pretty snug, so I think that'll work. So I'll go ahead and close that one off. Snip off the yarn. Now we're going to do the same exact thing to this side. All right, that looks about the same. Might be a little bit more on that side, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and cut this off. Now for this part, I'm going to grab my bigger scissors because you do want some big sharp scissors for this. It does make your life a little easier. So we've got both of these ends closed up nice and tight. And where you see this split, there's a guide. I'll show you on the smaller one. What we're doing is we're looking to guide our scissors right through this this space right here. So we're just going to snip along and let that space guide us. And this is where those strong, sharp scissors come in handy. And you see that guide, I'm just resting the bottom portion. Sometimes I have to set this down and use two hands. That's okay. The thicker the yarn, the harder it is to cut. And then we're going to do the same exact thing to this side. Then come back to your yarn and give yourself a good amount here. A good, probably 12 to 18 inches. And then what we're going to do is find that guide again. It's not just for our scissors. We're now going to put this through both sides. And we want to meet up in the middle. Now what the goal is to tie this yarn around all of these strands, because they are, believe it or not, they are vertical like this. And what we want to do is tie this as tight as we possibly can. And we'll tie it again to make that good knot. And we'll tie it one more time for good luck. All right, and then these are the strands that we will use to attach to the bunny itself. And before I do that, I usually like to trim off these little long tails. And we will be doing a little more trimming after we take this out, but that just minimizes it a little bit. And then what we'll do is take these and open them back up. As you can see, there's half of our pom-pom. And then the other side, open this up. Then you take this piece and grab it. Take this piece and grab it, and you're just going to pull this apart. There's this little pin here that holds that together in the middle. And don't worry, these all come apart for a reason. Okay, and then we just put that right back together and close that up. And we are now done with our pom-pom makers. Now for our pom-pom itself, and just fluff that up a little bit. That actually looks pretty good. I don't think I need to do very much. Maybe just a little trimming right here. Any really long pieces that stick out. But again, it is a tail, so we don't want it to necessarily be too perfect. Just kind of turn that around. Now what I like to do is just grab a really small, like a 3mm crochet hook. We're gonna find the back center of our bunny. And I'm thinking I want to place that right about there because I want it to kind of set on the table or surface wherever that's going to go. So I want it to be a little lower than normal. And I'm going to find those tails and place them right against the back of the bunny. And then I'm going to grab a few spots, just go through an area close to that. As you can see there, just kind of put my hook through, and then I'm going to grab 2 of those tails. Looks like just one of those wanted to come through, so we'll grab the other one. There we go. And just next to that, on this side, I'm going to grab the other 2 and pull those through. And then, because I don't want it to be too low, looks like that moved down just a little bit on me. Let's go ahead and come up here just a little bit. And you can play with this a little bit as well, just to find your placing. And I just want to grab a couple of loops of yarn because we're going to tie this nice and tight. And I don't want to put too much strain on just 1 or 2 loops. So I've got a couple of anchor points there. Pull that up. And I'm simply going to tie this into a very tight knot. And then we can, oh, I've got to get all my little fluffs out of the way. Looks like they got caught in there. That's okay. Pull those out. And give that a little fluff. Trim off these tails. And now our bunny has a very cute little tail. And just do a little more fluffing, a little more shaping. And how cute are we? So I hope you enjoy your beautiful bunny. I hope you make lots of them, and I hope you share with me your different colors that you use, different yarn types. I'm going to play around with some pink and white, of course, just for some traditional color. But I do, if you follow me, you know that I like to match my home decor. So this is a perfect blend in my living room and is going to be really cute in there. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you today, and I'm so thankful that you joined me. Please don't forget to, if you did, like, subscribe, comment in the comments below, share my tutorials with your friends and family. Let everybody have the chance to see how easy it can be to just sit down and relax and make something beautiful.